Live, Jimmy Dore.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's show. There's too many Epstein files to cover. I kind of thought about not covering any of them because everybody else is covering them.
Right?
Right?
Uh-huh.
And so the stuff that I'm probably going to cover today, other people are going to drop, were covered last night and then drop today, so it's already out. So, but I'm going to cover the stuff I think is interesting. Or I think all of it's interesting. It's all interesting. But I had to select it down, so I selected down, and I hope you enjoy our coverage. We're gonna do. We didn't get to do Bill Gates, but we did get to do Bill Clinton. We did do do Trump, and other people like that. So, and we're gonna talk about Pizzagate because it turns out it's mentioned pizza is all over the Jeffrey Epstein files. So, but first up, I want to talk to you about Lindsey Graham. So Lindsey Graham has been going on TV, and he sounds like Kamala Harris. He sounds like he's mixing booze and Xanax, and he's slurring a lot. So here he is from Fox News Sunday. Let's look.
Democrats say they're going to push for it.
Well, there's no sound.
Democrats say they're going to push for it.
Ready?
Democrats say they're going to push for it.
Well, what we're going to do is, I'm not going to agree. That would grind it to a halt. If you had a judicial warrant and all these things, you couldn't deal with mass. We're not dealing with the. We're trying to get people out of the country of no right to be here, Judge. Have people who are illegal immigrants. You remember Kim Davis?
I mean, he's slurring a lot. Now, if this is a neurological problem, I don't want to make fun of it because that's not right. But what is going on? He is slurring his speech. And it does sound like he's drinking and taking Xanax. So let's...
Illegal immigrants. You remember Kim Davis? Judge. Have people who are illegal immigrants. You remember Kim Davis?
I do.
Okay, who's Kim Davis, folks? Nothing to do with illegal immigration.
It's nothing to do with illegal immigration. Exactly, and that's exactly how someone talks when they're drinking. That's exactly what someone sounds like when they're drinking.
Kim Davis was a clerk of court in Kentucky. The Supreme Court ruled that the law of the land was that gay marriage was legal, that gay marriage was recognized under the U.S. Constitution. If you didn't recognize gay marriage, you violated the Equal Protection Clause. She's a religious conservative. People applied, two gay guys applied for a marriage license. She said she wouldn't issue it even though it was the law of the land. She went to jail. I was asked, what about it? Well, I agree with her political, philosophical, not her religious views, but she's a public official. He
couldn't come up with the word philosophy. I didn't agree with her political philosophy. Yeah, I didn't go along with her thing. That's wild. This is wild.
Yeah.
Has to do this. You can't change the law because you disagree with it. She went to jail. She should have. I think it's a defining moment in his presidency. Ronald Reagan went to the Berlin Wall and he said, tear down this wall. He didn't say, could you make it lower?
Right.
Biggest thing you could possibly ever do to the Mideast is take this regime down, and they're as weak as they've ever been since 1979. Mr. President, you can do it. I hope you will do it. And if you do it, this is Reagan bless.
Okay.
This is
What?
Reagan what?
Blessed.
Is that what he said? Reagan blessed?
It sounds like that.
Well, then let's definitely not do it.
So let's listen to the exact beginning again. And this is what you get for letting Kamala Harris coach you at lunch before your interview. Don't try to keep up with her. You don't have the tolerance, Lindsay. Here we
Democrats say
go.
they're going to push for it.
Well, what we're going to do is, well, I'm not going to agree. That would grind it to a halt.
I'm not gonna try to grind it. I mean, he can't. He's literally slurring like a drunk. So let's. Here's another one. Lindsey Graham attempting to say he wants sanctuary city policies to end. Let's listen.
I want sanctuary city policy.
I want sanctuary. Here we go.
I want sanctuary city policy.
I want sanctuary. Listen, Barney, could you put me in the trunk tank and then I will get up in the morning?
What's
It's like a scene from Andy Griffith's show where Otis would come in drunk and put himself in jail, sleep there, and wake up sober, and they'd let him out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that Miss Lindsey Graham don't have a tolerance. Come on, Lindsey Graham. That's a chemsex guy if I've ever seen one in my life.
I want sanctuary city policy to end.
Okay, here's another one. He's on the. I'm not going to say Senator Graham is drunk because that would be unprofessional. Okay, here we go.
But they got to see us fighting. We got to give them a chance to see the difference between us and liberal Democrats. In 2 weeks, we're going to
He
have.
sounds like Foster Brooks, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
He's a famous comedian. His whole gig was he would pretend he was drunk. He showed up and he would talk like, and that's what he's doing right here.
But they got to see us fighting. We got to give them a chance to see the difference between us and liberal Democrats.
I'm
In
sorry.
2 weeks,
The difference between
Have the decency and the gravitas to get some coke and even out before your big Fox.
no
News
kidding.
interview. Come on, this is Bush League.
But they got to see us fighting. We got to give them a chance to see the difference between us and liberal Democrats. In 2 weeks, we're going to have that chance. And I can't wait till John Kennedy gets on the floor and sticks it to them about the insanity of sanctuary cities.
I can't wait till he comes up here tonight.
Yeah.
Let's listen to that. Let's listen to that first one again. I think that was the best. This is the best one.
Democrats say they're going to push for it.
Well, what we're going to do is, well, I'm not going to agree. That would grind it to a halt. If you had a judicial warrant and all these things, you couldn't deal with mass. We're not dealing with the. We're trying to get people out of the country who have no right to be here, Judge. Have people who are illegal immigrants. You remember Kim Davis?
I do.
Okay, who's Kim Davis, folks? Nothing to do with illegal immigration. Kim Davis.
That's 2 times in a row. That's like 2 times within 5 seconds. I got legal immigration.
Was a clerk of court in Kentucky. The Supreme Court ruled that the law of the land was that gay marriage was legal. Gay marriage was
It was legal. Okay? It's legal. They really ruled gay marriage is legal. Okay?
recognized under the U.S. Constitution. If you didn't recognize gay marriage, you violated the Equal Protection Clause. She's a religious conservative.
She's religious conservative. She's religious conservative. She's religious conservative.
Look at Steve Bannon laughing at him.
And Steve Bannon is laughing at him. I see
Look at
behind
that.
your head.
He's very amused by
See
this.
Steve Bannon. Chomsky thinks it's funny too. Chomsky.
What's that, Chomsky? It is funny.
It
You're
is
right.
funny.
People applied. Two gay guys applied for
Two guys.
Too gay. He goes too gay. Gaza.
Too gay. Let's listen. Let's listen to this.
She's a religious conservative.
She's a religious
People applied. Two gay guys applied for
to gay Gaza. Get Gaza. He is smashed. He's hammers. Like if he did one of these, he'd be all right. If he did two, okay. These are unbelievable.
marriage license. She said she wouldn't issue it, even though it was the law of the land. She went to jail. I was asked, what about it? Well, I agree with her political, philosophical, not her religious views.
Her religious views. This is, I hope he gets a wellness check, because if he's not drinking, then there's something seriously wrong with him, right? Kirk, have you? Now you've been around the block. I've spent my whole life in nightclubs.
I can't fathom it, Jimmy. I cannot fathom it, because who's the guy in the wheelchair, Madison Cawthorn, that said, people were offering him to do coke at parties, people that he looked up to. So I don't know which Republican, but I would bet it's Lindsey Graham. I would have bet it was Lindsey Graham, because he's like a guy whose mouth still works at that sex party, and he's a beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, he don't have blow. What happened? Were we really getting blow from Venezuela?
I think he drinks because we let him down. That's what we won't go in. We're against the war in Iran. And
Duchess, I'm sorry.
We didn't put boots on the ground in Venezuela yet, and that's why I think he's drinking, because we really.
I thought we were gonna get the boots on the ground, get some minerals, but all those minerals are in Iran. They got minerals. I just bought a carpet for $5. Remember, he went to Iraq and I got a carpet for $5.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, that's Lindsey Graham.
But she's a public official. She has to do this. You can't change the law because you disagree with it. She went to jail. She should have. I think it's a defining moment in his presidency. Ronald Reagan went to the Berlin Wall and he said, tear down this wall. He didn't say, could you make it lower? Biggest thing.
Could you make it a little lower?
By the way, pretty sure Ronald Reagan was when they instituted sanctuary cities. The Republicans did.
Yes.
To lower your goddamn wages. So, he was there for this.
I know.
He don't remember what happened?
You could possibly ever do to the Mideast is take this regime down, and they're as weakest they've ever been since 1979. Mr. President, you can do it. I hope you will do it. And if you do it, this is Reagan Plus.
Okay.
This is Reagan Plus. That's what I think he was trying to say plus. And his eyes look hammered. He looks hammered. And when he says this is Reagan Plus, I think he meant to say plus.
So it's Reagan who instituted sanctuary cities, plus we're getting rid of them. Is that he is hammered? Guy's shit hammered. He's
on something. I mean, we made fun of Kamala Harris when she was obviously on taking too many Xanax, and so we gotta bring it to.
I don't want to be optimistic, Jimmy, but are we not going to have war in Iran? Because he has not been the same since the first day of not having war in Iran.
I know. He's been different.
No kidding.
It's not.
That's why I trust what Professor Zhang said to me, because he said Russia and China helped Iran go through Starlink and track all those Mossads that were starting the BLM riots, but worse because they were shooting at cops and shit. So that's probably why we didn't go in. If I had to guess why.
Is because they knew.
Yeah,
because they knew
they killed all the violent actors.
Yeah.
So that's who was keeping it going.
Yeah.
He was really depressed, dude. He was like, "No, we stand with you." Remember?
Yeah. So do you think they successfully weeded out the most, if not all, of the Mossad violent actors that were making the protests violent?
I'm not even sure Professor Zhang is even a professor. It was unclear. I think he's just a high school teacher, but apparently that's open news. That's known, pretty well known. He told me China and Israel are very close. I know it might seem like they're against each other to peasants, but they're cool. But China and Russia helped with that Iran thing, and they traced him through the Starlink. He was very specific. It's on the episode of Dope with Kerp. And okay, the coincidences were I heard about the Venezuela interfering with our elections thing, which sounded like nonsense early on, and he brought that up. And he said, how would Maduro be there unless him and his wife are both kidnapped, unless he's in on it? And then this guy is upset because they killed all those Kurds that the Mossad ran. It was mostly Kurds doing that. Do you know that? Mossad run Kurds.
No, I didn't know that.
Dude, Professor Zhang gave me again. Maybe he's a Chinese spy that's just giving me information. I don't give a shit. Well, it looks like it's bearing out, does it not?
Oi! I don't want any trouble.
That's all.
Dude, Lindsay, we gotta get him. We stand with you. That's such a funny clip.
I gotta get that on the soundboard. We stand with you.
Just hit it after. Oh, where do you see the argument I had today?
Oh, real? Oh, you were on a podcast before this, right? Okay. What was the podcast?
Oh, it was my friend Lev, but he wanted me to talk to his other friend from an institute, from a think tank.
Oh, about?
Oh, boy, get this, Jimmy. He's both a hardcore Zionist and he wants to keep Ukraine going. So, like, the best of both worlds.
Oh, my God. I wish I would have been there. That would have been fun.
It was just really me yelling at someone a lot, but I feel very entertaining.
Okay.
I couldn't believe the shit they were saying. Dude, these people have no... And the think tank ones are dumb as shit. Like, they don't really know anything. How many of these people high up do you realize don't know anything because they're trained to never look at the big picture on purpose? It's a virtue for
But they
them.
do say things like, we should have the only standing blue water navy. That's
Yeah.
what they call it, blue water navy. I never
Yeah,
heard.
he told me Max Blumenthal is a scumbag.
Oh, okay.
This kabod plant of a dude from a think tank.
Oh my God.
At one point, I'm like, why does he have the foreign accent telling me where my money should go to what country? That's the most galling part of all.
And
That's New York.
And they always hate the journalists who the establishment media also hate. Isn't that funny? It's
Huh.
like, really? So the establishment media hates this guy, but you also hate this guy. I think I get it.
Dude, a bunch of these people are under the impression, you know how everybody hated that Joe Rogan had a podcast that did better than the news,
Yes.
but couldn't somehow put together that maybe your side is so obviously wrong to anyone with less money than you at this point that might be why then you fucked up. They cannot get that in their head. It's that they have in their head like, oh, I know it's popular to say that AIPAC's a problem. I know it's really like, why do you think that is?
Well, I know. Why do you think it is popular to say that?
Oh, I know it's cool to say Ukraine's not working out. Yeah, now it is. Now that it's obviously not working out, asshole. I said it the whole time.
Yeah, we said it day one that this war is going to end on Russia's terms, the way they want it. Anyway, we got to go. We got a guest coming in, and we'll get you back right after this.
All right, bye.
All right. So, hey, guess what? Gold is booming again. As of January 26th, gold is trading around $5,000 per ounce, and silver is trading around $110 per ounce, which is almost a 50% increase from when I bought it a little over a year ago. It's really going through the roof. And why do you think that is? Well, that's because the government keeps printing an extra $1 trillion every 3 months. And that when you flood the world with an extra $1 trillion, it devalues the buying power of those dollars. And they keep doing it every 3 months, which is why we're up to $39 trillion in debt right now. And so they're not going to stop doing that. So Trump was supposed to come in and he was supposed to lower the deficit. They're exploding the deficit. They're going to give another $1 trillion to the defense machine, to the war machine. It's not stopping. And so I don't see, I'm not a genius on this or an expert, but I don't see the dollar getting more buying power. I think it getting less, and gold and silver continuing to go up. So if you want to learn more about gold and silver, Monetary Gold has a complimentary gold and silver guide. Visit jimmylovesgold.com or call 800-476-7790 to request their free guide. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We have special guests with us. Dr. Brian Hooker's here. He's the Senior Director of Science and Research at Children's Health Defense. You know what that is. That's our favorite organization, an organization committed to the best health for children in the U.S. and worldwide. He's also former professor of biology at Simpson University, where he specialized in microbiology and biotechnology. He co-authored with RFK Jr. the New York Times best-selling book, Vax Unvax, Let the Science Speak. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Brian Hooker. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's always always good to see you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Good to see you too. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but this was a news headline from the 28th here, January 28th. It says Secretary Kennedy appoints new interagency autism coordinating committee to advance fight against autism. And then it says the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services today announced the appointment of 21 new members to the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committees. These appointees reflect the commitment of the Secretary to supporting breakthrough innovations in autism research, diagnosis, treatment, and the prevention by bringing the nation's understanding of the policies concerning autism into alignment with gold standard science. So, first of all, what do you make of that, and what do you make of those 21 people?
Well, I've been researching autism for over 25 years. I have an autistic son. He is considered low functioning. He is a non-speaker. He doesn't have the ability to speak. And I know and have worked with many of the 21 individuals that have been named to the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee. And I know two of them, like my son, are non-speakers, and they communicate using a letterboard or a keyboard. And so they provide such a unique and needed perspective. And really, with this team of individuals, they're leaving, nothing off the table. Everything is on the table. They're not afraid to talk about the V word, vaccines, Tylenol, other stressors in the environment that cause autism. So it's really a new day at the National Institutes of Health, at HHS, regarding autism and the autism epidemic.
Well, the reason why I ask you is because, let's just watch this video of you talking about a suppressed study at the CDC.
Roll back in the time machine to August of 2014. That is when Bill Thompson made the admission that the CDC had lied and hid the fact that the MMR vaccine was associated with autism. Talking with Thompson as it unfolded felt like a spy movie. It led me to secretly record phone conversations with Dr. William Thompson, which I did in the state of Oregon because it's illegal to secretly record phone conversations in the state of California. Dr. Thompson freely admitted that he had covered it up, and his associates at the CDC had also covered it up.
Thimerosal causes autism-like features, and that's the way I would say it. I'm completely ashamed of what I did. The higher-ups wanted to do certain things, and I went along with it. Colleen is a center director. Frank is the director of immunization safety, and Marceline the branch chief. They're still all much more senior than me.
Dr. Julie Gerberding was head of the CDC at the time. Coincidentally, she went on to a lucrative career at Merck, the manufacturer of the MMR vaccine.
I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe we did what we did. But we did.
Whoa. So at least since 2014, we've known because of that doctor. So now did he blow the whistle, or did he not? Or did you just how did that come about?
Well, he did blow the whistle. I worked with him privately for about 9 months to collect information, to get the documentation, to actually get data directly from the CDC to affirm what he was saying. And then, in late August 2014, he released a statement essentially saying that the CDC and his co-authors on a study that came out back in 2004, that they had committed fraud and that they did see a link between the MMR vaccine, the timing of the MMR vaccine, and autism incidents, specifically in African American males.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was specific.
Yeah, there was a specific link. What he found, and then what I subsequently found without him telling me. We were comparing notes. Was that African American males, if they get the MMR on time, that's anywhere between 12 and 15 months of age, were 3.5 times more likely to get an autism diagnosis than if they would have just merely waited until their third birthday. So just, another 18, 21 months, and you reduce the risk substantially for an African American male getting an autism diagnosis. So, and it was clear as the nose on your face. I had the data file for 15 minutes. I found the effect. I called Dr. Thompson and I said, please tell me, what this is, when you knew it. And they knew about this as early as November 2001 and sat on the information and ultimately destroyed the information at the orders of Dr. Colleen Boyle.
And who's Dr. Colleen Boyle?
Dr. Colleen Boyle was the head of the National Center for Birth Defects and Developmental Disabilities at CDC. She was one of the co-authors of the cover-up regarding Agent Orange, and she was definitively one of the co-authors in the cover-up regarding vaccines and autism.
So the people who we think in the government are looking out for us are actually nefarious agents looking to keep us from the truth and keep poisoning us. Is that an overstatement?
I wish, that I could say something different, that it was an overstatement, but everything that I've seen about these individuals that orchestrated this cover up is that they were not trying to save children. They were trying to save a vaccination program that really, really direly needed reform in order to help children and in order to reduce the number of children that were being diagnosed with autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders.
And it's just money? That's it?
I think it's more than money. I think that there's a whole construct that, when you're at the CDC, there's CDC culture. You are lockstep with the CDC director. At the time, that was Dr. Julie Gerberding. Vaccines were the best thing since sliced bread, and you just did not deviate from that standard. And if you did, then what happened to Dr. Thompson, he was put on suspension for blowing the whistle.
So they suspended him, but he's still at the CDC right now.
He came back off of suspension. He received a retention bonus later the year after he blew the whistle on the CDC, and he was tucked away in an office until Secretary Kennedy became Secretary of HHS last February, and now he is working actively to presumably right this wrong.
And so when he blew the whistle, why do you think nobody knows about it? Like, I didn't know about it until I came across this video. Why it didn't get reported in the media, right? Or did it?
It did not get reported in the media. We came very close to having a major media outlet reporting it. But I actually published a paper showing that effect in African American males. And as soon as the whistleblower statement came out, the paper got taken down. It was retracted from the journal based on trumped up charges against some type of conflict of interest that I did not have. And all of a sudden the story became, nothing to see here. The paper by researcher Brian Hooker is retracted. Dr. William Thompson is delusional. And so it was never really covered by the mainstream media. We got very, very close to having Fox News cover it. They dropped it at the very end. And I think that's because so much of their revenue comes from pharmaceutical advertising, including vaccine advertisements.
Oh, well, 100%. I mean, RFK has told that story on my show and others that Bill Ayers, who's William Ayers, right? Who was the head of
Wasn't
Fox?
it Roger Ailes?
Roger Ailes.
Roger
Ailes
was the head of Fox News.
Bill
correct?
Ayers.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Close enough.
Close enough. Roger Ailes told him that if he ever told the truth, anybody ever told the truth about vaccines on their show, he would have to fire them because he'd get a call. And that's that because of exactly what you said. 70% of the news revenue comes from Big Pharma, thanks to Bill Clinton repealing the regulations that now allows Big Pharma to advertise direct to consumers on television, which is we're one of the only 2 countries in the whole world that allows that, and it's the complete corruption. So I wanted to show you this. So here's some. So you say this. They knew this in November of 2001. Well, here's someone
Correct.
saying it goes back even further.
I'd like to have accountability for the COVID era, and I'd like to have accountability for the fact that the CDC has known since 1999 that vaccines cause autism, and they've covered it up for 26 years. How do we begin to have accountability? You want to call it something different? Truth commissions, criminal trials?
So what do you make of that? Do you think that they've known since 1999, and why do you think he says that?
I believe that they've known it at least since 1999. That's my good colleague, Dr. Toby Rogers, when he testified before a Senate subcommittee. And what he was referring to was thimerosal, the mercury-containing preservative that used to be in the Hep B shot, the DTaP shot, the Haemophilus influenza B shot, shots that were given to infants as young as first day of life, contained mercury in them. And the government had the audacity to say that there was no link to the autism epidemic, even though they knew it as clear as the nose on their face. They saw the results by a researcher in the CDC, a Dutch researcher named Thomas Verstraeten, showed that those kids that were exposed to that in the first month of life were 10 times more likely to get an autism diagnosis. And they knew that as of July 1999.
And so they've taken thimerosal out of those vaccines, correct? Or am I wrong?
It wasn't until Secretary Kennedy actually banned it, removed it from the flu shot. The CDC claimed that they took it out of infant vaccines. That's not true. They just mixed it around. They put it in the prenatal flu shot. They put it in the flu shot that were given to 6-month-old and 7-month-old infants. So it was more of a shell game. And it wasn't until, Secretary Kennedy's actions of just a few months ago that now pregnant women are no longer exposed to thimerosal when they get a flu shot.
So they did take it out of some of the vaccines, but you're saying it was more of a shell game. They were moving it. They didn't really.
They didn't, it was an effort between 2001 and 2003 to take it out of those 3 vaccines I mentioned before, but then they added the flu shot to the schedule, and they added the flu shot to the schedule to pregnant women during any trimester of pregnancy. And so now infants, prenatal, they were getting exposed to mercury much earlier than before in a very, very, very delicate developmental phase.
And so why do you think other doctors, like if I like I said, I always tell people I was a C student, I'm a nightclub comedian, and I know about this. And I know about that the child vaccine schedule went from 4 to 72 shots. And when I tell people this at Hollywood parties, I was telling this to a doctor at a Christmas party, and his jaw was on the ground. He's like, "What? A doctor?" And he didn't know it was 72 shots. He's like, "What? 70?" And I said, "Yeah, and the first one they give him is the Hep B shot, which you can only get Hep B from intravenous drug use or unprotected sex." And he's like, "What?" Like he didn't know any of this stuff. So are doctors just that ignorant? Are they that incurious? Or are a lot of them paid off because they can make so much money vaccinating people? Or is it a mixture? Why I just don't understand why there aren't more doctors like you speaking out on a daily basis.
Well, so many doctors in medical school, they spend maybe 4 hours on the vaccination schedule out of their entire, 4+ years of classroom instruction and medical education. I've talked to doctors over and over again. They say, we learn about the schedule. We learn that they're safe and effective. We learn about, the vaccine information sheet. That's it. They don't really even know which vaccines are given during what well baby checkups. And exactly what you said, Jimmy, they are incentivized to upwards of $600 per fully vaccinated child in their practice if they achieve certain vaccination rates. The Blue Cross Blue Shield used to, if a practice was fully vaccinated, 63% of the patients were fully vaccinated. They used to reimburse a pediatrician $600 per patient, which meant that they could get on a good year upwards to $500,000 just in revenues from the HMOs. That's not medical receipts. That's not insurance billing. That is just incentives from the HMOs to vaccinate their patients.
Let me just play this for you and get your reaction. Here's Bill Nye, the science guy, he's not a scientist. He's an electrical engineer, and he was wrong about everything during COVID. He's one of those guys. But he never has to pay the price. But the people who told the truth during COVID have to pay a huge price for it. It's an upside down world we live in. But here he is again, and you tell me what you think of what he says here.
I know that you were receiving a lot of texts from the HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Trying to convince you the science of connecting autism to vaccines, which you can tell me about the science there, to the point where you had to block him?
Well, I mean, you guys, everybody, texts take up your phone time. He was relentless, page after page after page. So I just told him he's confused causation with correlation, the same old problem. Just because somebody got a vaccination and then somebody else got autism doesn't mean one caused the other. This is science. This is a long time. So that is, Mr. Kennedy's views have been debunked up and down.
So has Mr. Kennedy's views been debunked up and down, or is this another pretend scientist pushing propaganda that he doesn't know anything about?
Bill Nye is a stand-up comedian. He's got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and he's never really worked in industry. He's worked a lot taking money from GMO manufacturers, vaccine manufacturers, pharmaceutical manufacturers. And so, yeah, he knows where his bread is buttered. But, obviously, the science that he quotes that quote unquote shows that vaccines don't cause autism, you could drive a Mack truck through. When they say that, they're talking about one vaccine, that's the MMR, one vaccine component, thimerosal, and even those studies are flimsy and fraudulent at best. The rest of the vaccination schedule, the CDC, the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, they've never studied. Okay, so again, there's a huge hole. You look at the vaccination schedule, you look at the vaccines that are laid out in the vaccination schedule, they've never been studied together, and they've never been studied for autism causation.
So we can't say, we're not saying for certain that current childhood vaccines cause autism, which is, I guess, why RFK has ordered this new research panel of 21 people, so we could have the hard science on whether it does or whether there's a causal link, not a correlation, but a causal link between the childhood vaccines and autism. And that's what they're going to find out, even though we've had people like that whistleblower, Dr. Thompson inside, who's still at the CDC, came out and said they suppressed the study. And we can't, we still have to say we don't have the science because they destroyed that science, right? We don't have it.
They have destroyed that science. Fortunately, Dr. Thompson retained that science. I republished all the information. Even though my first paper was retracted under dubious circumstances, I republished it again in 2018. So it's in the peer-reviewed scientific literature. I strongly believe, especially when you look at mercury and aluminum that there is enough evidence to show that vaccines do play a causal role in the autism epidemic.
So you're telling me that you did get that published, that study that Thompson was talking about and that you had taken down, it eventually did get published in a peer-reviewed medical journal?
That is correct.
And so
that is correct. It was published.
What did the peers say when they reviewed it?
The peers that reviewed it said that I followed the study design that the CDC originally was commissioned to do. The CDC, when they found this effect specifically for African American males, they did something you're never supposed to do. They changed the study design midstream. Okay. And they changed the parameters of the study midstream because they did not like the outcome. So the only choice that they had was to subtract some individuals. They came up with a criteria that all of a sudden, these individuals had to have a valid state of Georgia birth certificate. It was an Atlanta study, which, really diluted out the amount of African American males that were in that study. And it lowered the bar so you could no longer achieve statistical significance. So they did a big cheat, and when you remove that cheat, and the reviewers saw this directly, when you remove that cheat, you saw the actual effect, and that there was a strong, significant effect, specifically in African American males.
So now if that's published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, why? I don't understand why that's not all over the place and everybody, like, I'm just hearing about it now talking to you, right? And I'm into this topic more than most, for sure. Most people don't. Most people never covered COVID, won't cover COVID even, and won't talk about it now. Even in this space here, they won't talk. They ridicule RFK. What I tell people, because it's true. The news hacks. And the establishment, they hate RFK. He's a flawed guy. They don't hate him for his flaws. They hate him for the things he gets right. And he's gotten a lot of things right about, first of all, he predicted how COVID was going to roll out way before, immediately when it started. Not only to get that 100% right, but also we're finding out now about nobody knew anything about that there were 72 vaccines and that they weren't actually tested against a placebo. Nobody knew that. Now we all know this, and it went from people like Jon Stewart and Joe Scarborough thanking. I have video clips which I've played on the show of Jon Stewart and Joe Scarborough thanking RFK on air for doing his research into autism's link to vaccines, and now nothing. So if that's out there, why isn't that having more of an impact?
Well, scientists, those that are on, the big pharma side of this issue, they pick and choose their science. There are 8 studies out showing that the vaccinated versus unvaccinated children, those that are opting out of the vaccination schedule have about 4 to 5 times less autism. 8 studies. And these are in the peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature. Some of them are in what's called PubMed, which is the National Library of Medicine. So these are, the creme de la creme, the upper echelon journals that you can get published in. They've got the government seal of approval. But you know what? When you're being paid not to tell the truth, or when you're being paid to ignore the truth, it's very easy to, take an a la carte approach and say, well, I'll take a little of this and a little bit of that, but I won't look at all the science, the entirety of the science, and I won't look at the fatal flaws at the studies that the CDC has done for years to cover up this link.
And so Bill Nye is just further proof that you shouldn't trust someone who wears a bow tie. And
it's not a good look.
No, I didn't trust Tucker when he wore a bow tie, but it's kind of amazing. As soon as he got rid of the bow tie, he became a truth teller. And now he told the truth about the COVID. He told the truth about the Syrian war, the Ukraine war, and he told the truth so much about vaccines, they fired him. from Fox. So again, you don't get fired from cable news for lying. You get promoted. You get a $35 million contract, which is what Rachel Maddow got for 5 years straight of pushing the conspiracy theory that Russiagate, right, which was completely a bogus thing, was debunked. And we debunked it here before anybody else. I'll take credit. And the reason I tell you that is because no one else will. That's why I have to tell people. But so this guy is just a fraud. So Bill Nye, not a scientist, got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, not a scientist, presents himself as a scientist, which is a fraud. From your jumping off point is that he's a fraud. He's telling people he's a scientist. He's not a scientist. And, and then he's just pretending that there isn't what you just said, 8 studies linking that together. There's not the study that got covered up that you got published. So there's lots of stuff out there, and there's and of course a glacial amount of anecdotal evidence, and mothers can tell you and things like that. But I guess it's believe all women unless they're telling you about their kid and vaccines, I guess.
Well, you see so many of these moms get gaslighted, by their pediatricians, by medical professionals, by school officials, and I've heard them all, Jimmy. I had one pediatrician say, "Oh, well, parents are the best reporters of sheer coincidence. Just because your child regresses after a fever following a vaccine that you treat with Tylenol doesn't mean that any of that has anything to do, with that child's regression into autism." So summarily, with one hand wave, this pediatrician, who is the head of a large autism organization, by the way, in the United States, he hand waved, about 70% of the experience of parents that I know have children that have regressive autism, that have regressed, that are no longer speaking, that are no longer able to take care of themselves, are no longer able to toilet themselves. And so parents have borne the brunt of this for such a long time, and they need to be listened to. And quite frankly, Secretary Kennedy was one of the first people that ever listened to me. I'm the parent of an autistic child, ever listened to Sarah Bridges, who was the first parent that actually presented the evidence to RFK Jr., and he listened, and he's astute. He's probably the brightest, from a scientific perspective. He exercises better science than 90% of the scientists I know.
Well, I would agree, but I'm not a scientist, so what does that matter? But do you hope? What is your hope for this panel that RFK has put together? Do you think it actually is going to lead? I know they've already changed the childhood vaccine schedule to be more on par with, say, Denmark, right? And
Correct.
So it's gone from 72 shots down to like 35 shots, is what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. 35, 36 shots through the 18th birthday.
Right.
And I do hold out a lot of hope for the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee. I know these individuals, many of them. I know that they're tenacious. They will not stop until the right things are done. And, they will not stop until there's still individuals within the CDC that are foxes guarding the henhouse. There are still people that need to go from that agency. In fact, the very individual that heads up the National Center for Birth Defects and Developmental Disabilities, where autism is, she's a vaccinologist, and she has no experience with developmentally disabled children whatsoever. She was put there basically to keep vaccines off the table. Those individuals still need to go. Rome was not built in a day. Secretary Kennedy has a lot of things to do, but if I was on that committee, that's where I would start.
Okay, well, it really drives me nuts to see people. I mean, there's a lot of bad inside the Trump administration. There's not a lot to cheer about. The one bright spot I think is HHS, and to see people line up to try to kick him while he's doing good work. And they're not kicking him for his good work. They're kicking him for his flaws, which have nothing to do with the work he's doing at HHS. So it's really sad. And but this is a bright spot, right? So hopefully we'll get something. Well, do you have any special insight about this committee and when they're gonna it should be concluded?
The committee is a standing committee, and so these individuals, and until they are dismissed or until they resign from these committees, they will be holding these positions. And so, as a standing committee, they will continue to make recommendations directly to the Secretary of HHS. So they're going to go directly to Secretary Kennedy's desk. I have a lot of their email addresses. I'm getting busy already with my own recommendations as a scientist and as an autism dad. As what needs to be done, where to start. This is a big agency, 60,000 employees. So, I'm glad they're all there. It's going to take a while to right this ship. But I'm very, very encouraged by the individuals appointed to the committee and obviously by Secretary Kennedy.
Dr. Brian Hooker, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for your hard work. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Well, thank you so much, Jimmy. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. All right, be honest. Have you noticed yourself moving slower, avoiding stairs, feeling stiff in the morning? If so, pay attention. The truth is, mobility doesn't just vanish overnight. It's a slow decline. And before you know it, you're the guy making weird noises every time you get up off the couch. But by the time you pay those grunts enough attention, it can feel too late. But it doesn't have to be. That's where Juvent comes in. This isn't some gimmick or magic pill. It's a clinically proven device that uses safe, low-impact micro vibrations to strengthen your bones, improve your circulation, and keep your joints working the way they're supposed to. Notice I said micro vibration. This is nothing like those other shake plates on the market, which, by the way, can be extremely dangerous. I stand on my Juvent for 20 minutes a day, and it's made a noticeable difference in how I feel. It's like giving your body a tune-up before it completely breaks down. Athletes, doctors, even NASA uses the thing, and it's good enough for the astronauts. It's good enough for me. With a 10-year limited warranty, financing options, and the ability to use FSA funds, it's never been easier. So don't wait until your knees sound like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Get a Juvent today. I got one. Go to juvent.com/door and start moving like you're supposed to. That's JUVENT.com/door. The code is DORE, D-O-R-E, for $300 off at your checkout. Your joints will thank you. Trust me. I'm not on set.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm over here today. We have a guest later. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
I will follow.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. That's not it.
I'll doctor the books and make it look like.
Here we go. Kurt, you need to be careful. You derped that Zio Intel guy so hard. I think he needs a new asshole. Also, he's probably going to have you Israeled.
I know. I told you I'm getting Pegasus because this guy's from the Atlantis. So Lev, who's a nice guy who put me in touch with this other guy, Jason, I had on my show. He wanted me to talk to this guy, and I think it's because that Redacted came out. I think that's why.
Oh,
and I think because he took it down.
What came out?
My Redacted with Natalie, that interview.
Oh, okay. And what happened in that interview?
You didn't show Jimmy.
I don't even know. I'm gonna have to go back and look. But I got invited by Lev to this now to talk to. He had brought this up before. He has a friend who's in a think tank, the Atlanticist or something. And I'm like, oh, I'll talk to him. I can't wait to talk to them. And the guy opened up, showing me pictures of him and Zelensky hanging out. I'm like, oh, dude, you got if I come out, you got to do coke. I want some of that coke. I kept saying that, and he goes, and he stopped, so I'm just being funny. I'm not even. I think I'm being. He goes. Oh, I mean, yeah, he doesn't do that since he became an authority.
Ha!
So right then, I know you're fucking with me. Right then, dude. So as he started pushing, you can tell me new propaganda, and then he told me Max Blumenthal's a scumbag. This guy. I told him to put on a kippah when he talks to me that way, and he got mad and left.
Did he?
Yeah.
What's a kippah?
It's a yarmulke.
Oh, yarmulke? That's what they're
talking about. Some kabod. I don't know how to say it, and I don't care. Lubavitch. That's the Jewish Moonies. So that's not anything religious. It's an intel operation like the Moonies. And also, we give too much money to the Moonies, too. It's just like that. Steve Bannon is a big Mooney fan, a big Kabod guy. And so's this guy. And so's the ADL. It's a spy network almost. It's just to connect all these things and infiltrate in and make sure that you hear their propaganda. And they had the nerve to act like I'm telling the mainstream propaganda with what I'm saying. Oh, I know it's popular to say. Oh, by the way, he wants us to stay in Ukraine, and he's a Zionist. He's both things. So everything good in one guy to talk to me. And he tried to sell me on some shit like I would have known was dumb before I even worked on this show, Jimmy.
The thing about Bannon is, like, he says the stuff that I've heard him say about banking and how we screwed over the younger generation when we did the bank bailout,
great
and
stuff.
how you get, you got to bring jobs back, and then you shouldn't cut health care because it's going to hurt the MAGA vote. And, all everything he says sounds like good working class stuff. Like this
guy too, and him.
Well,
he's
not
right about
no. Chomsky says a lot of bullshit.
Manufactured consent, but the point is, they're two greats that are friends.
I can't. So I'm gonna have to see more evidence of Steve Bannon, but I like the stuff. He says lots of insightful stuff I don't hear other people say. He's the one who came on the show and said that that Doge and Trump aren't serious if they don't go to the Pentagon, and they did it. So no one else. So
okay. Here's the thing. Yeah. Okay. I know he goes Elon. If you don't go to the Pentagon, if he doesn't cross the Potomac, so I put it.
Yeah.
Okay. We know Elon's not in charge of that. Are you really going to pretend that you think Elon was in charge of if we can cut the military? Are we going to pretend that's Elon? Oh, I guess Elon screwed it up, so we have to double the military now. What the fuck?
I mean, he didn't know. He had the power to expose it, though. He had the power to go, hey, here's where the money's going. Here's where it's not. I mean, he obviously didn't have the power because they didn't send him to the Pentagon.
Yeah,
so
if you read those files, you'll see. Here's what I believe. Here's where I'm at. You cannot be a billionaire. You will never be a billionaire unless you engage in this stuff with the other billionaires, or that gang will make sure you cannot be a billionaire. And I'm getting that from a guy's book that he wrote about Larry Ellison, telling him how shit works. And boy, it sure does sound like Larry Ellison.
So remember when Elon Musk said this? Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. I think the real reason they have not been made public is because he's told not to make them public by Benjamin Netanyahu and the AIPAC lobby and whoever pulls their strings. I think that's why. And certainly Miriam Adelson, who gave him $250 million, doesn't want these because it ties right back to Israel. And nobody, and we all know this now. And so, so there it is. Remember that? So hey, Jeffrey Epstein, never heard of him. So there he is. There's Jeffrey Epstein. There's a bunch of, so that doesn't mean anything.
And here's a picture of not even remotely as bad as stuff that
it's just
is said in the files. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to read you some of the files. By the way, I certainly do miss his old Sunday morning comic strip, Don's World, with those insightful little one-framers, but that was a sweeter, more innocent time. But anyway, here, I'll read this to you. Okay, let me read this to you. So I personally witnessed defendant Trump telling the plaintiff that she couldn't ever say anything, and if she didn't want to disappear like the 12-year-old female redacted, and that he was capable of having her whole family killed. After leaving the employment of Mr. Epstein in year 2000, I was personally threatened by Mr. Epstein that I would be killed and my family killed as well if I ever disclosed any of the physical and SA abuse of minor females that I had personally witnessed by Mr. Epstein or any of his guests. I'm coming forward to swear to the truthfulness of the physical and SA abuse that I personally witnessed on minor females at the hand of Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein, including the plaintiff, during the time of my employment from the years 1990 to 2000 for Mr. Epstein. I swear to these facts under penalty of perjury, even though I fully understand that the life of myself and my family is now in grave danger. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. Tiffany Doe. That was June 18th, 2016. That's in the files.
Wait, that's before he was the president of the United States, isn't it? Or is it?
Yes. Yeah,
that's really weird. That's a strange date. That's like almost like this has been an ongoing thing. Hey, it sounds just like the Franklin scandal, where they told us all about those other Republican politicians and the Democrat ones, and it went nowhere. And Hunter S. Thompson, and the reports are just as they look just like this. This is one small piece of a very big pie. Of a whole
very
thing.
big. So again, there's 3 million documents that they dropped. Guess what? There's 3 million more that they haven't dropped.
Yeah.
So this is just, again, this is...
Is it because they're protecting us from those?
They're protecting us. So this is still not even the stuff that they really want to hide from you. So the stuff that's been dropped is the stuff that they're like, okay, I guess we could give them this. And this is part of it. And here's some more. Here's some more that involves Trump. Trump, who then proceeded to forcibly grape a plaintiff. Johnson, during the course of the savage attack, plaintiff Johnson loudly pleaded with defendant Trump to, quote, please wear a condom. Defendant Trump responded by violently striking plaintiff Johnson in the face with his open hand and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted as he refused to wear protection. After achieving orgasm, the defendant, Donald J. Trump, put his suit back on, and when the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, in tears, asked defendant Trump what would happen if he had impregnated her, defendant Trump grabbed his wallet, threw some money at her, and screamed that she should use the money to get an effing abortion.
Oh, great socialism.
So this is when Musk, that's funny. So when Musk tweeted that out, he knew what he was talking about. He wasn't. I couldn't imagine that Elon Musk would make up something that big and then tweet it out publicly, that if it was made up, because he's opening himself up to a lawsuit. Maybe he doesn't care because he's worth $500 billion.
He's like the Democrats. They're all in there, so they know they can get Trump on it and go, oh, Trump doesn't want to say he's in there because he knows Trump has to protect all of them and can't release it. And that's what he was operating on because he was desperate to go there, it turns out.
So it does, and we're going to get to that. But it turns out this kind of revelation, I think, can only lead to one thing, Kurt, and alien invasion. That's what's going to happen because nothing on Earth is going to get him out of this one. We're going to have
H-1B visa aliens, yes.
We're going to have to H-1B visas. And, let's remember what an ex-CIA our Mossad spy told us, or told our friend Ashvin on Going Underground. Here's what he said.
I'm Ashton Tansy. Welcome back to Going Underground, broadcasting all around the world from the UAE on the 5th anniversary of the suspected Israeli attack on Beirut's port, which killed or wounded more than 5,000 in Lebanon. It's also the deadline for billionaire NATO media oligarch Rupert Murdoch to respond to Donald Trump's $10 billion defamation suit against his Wall Street Journal over a Jeffrey Epstein birthday album. This as Trump's poll ratings collapse, with his MAGA base turning away in disgust at what it sees as an elite cover-up, let alone Trump's forever wars. Meanwhile, Epstein's convicted sex crime accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, wants to testify in Congress after meeting with Trump's former personal lawyer and now Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. Epstein, of course, had connections to Israeli spying, leading some to link the Epstein scandal to the UK, US, EU armed Israeli genocide across Palestine. Joining me again is Ari Ben-Menashe, a former Israeli intelligence officer, cited by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Cy Hirsch in The Samson Option as a key source on Israel's clandestine operations. For years, he has alleged that Jeffrey Epstein was a blackmail asset working on behalf of Israeli intelligence. Ari now runs the lobbying firm Dickens & Madsen. He joins me now from Montreal in Canada. Harry, good to see you after so long. I would have asked you about the Beirut port explosion, who you thought was responsible for that. But since the pictures of the genocide in Gaza are saddening people all over the world, last week Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, came on this show, the emeritus professor of law at Harvard, and said, no, Trump's behavior as regards Gaza, as regards bombing Iran, as regards bombing Yemen, all his behavior can't be explained by any blackmail tapes of Trump. Do you believe in any way that the genocide in Gaza is being prolonged by the late Jeffrey Epstein?
I certainly believe that the Israelis are making sure that the Americans do not stop them from the killing in Gaza. I believe that the American government is sort of trapped by the Israelis. Jeffrey Epstein is one of their tools to trap them.
And what do you think of Dershowitz's denial?
Hold on a second. I want to give you an example. Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, Ehud Barak, met Arafat in the 90s, and there was no deal. The reason was Epstein. They were being blackmailed by Epstein. Ehud Barak was also a friend of Epstein, the prime minister of Israel at the time. But he was being blackmailed by the Israeli right wing as well. And they stopped an agreement with Arafat. They were about to reach an agreement there for a two-state solution. But that was stopped because of Epstein. They were both being blackmailed by Epstein.
Ehud Barak has been on. Ehud Barak has been on this show. He walked off this show. People can look it up, and that was not because I asked him about any blackmail alleged evidence against him. Before anyone thinks that you're dissembling or in any way, just remind people of how when you accurately exposed Reagan sending weapons to Iran via Israel, how the Jerusalem Post was used to say you had no Israeli intelligence links, and then they were obviously trying to discredit you, and then they had to retract it. So you have a history of saying things that turned out to be true.
So we could stop it there. So there it is, a guy, an Israeli intelligence guy telling you that they have control of American politicians, and how do they do it? They do it through the Epstein files. They do it through Epstein and blackmail. They were blackmailing the former Israeli prime minister, Ehud Barak. That's how you say his name. And they were blackmailing Bill Clinton at the same time. And so the idea is that they're most likely blackmailing Donald Trump at the same time. And so it looks like if this is what they're releasing, I still have to wonder, wow, what are they not really? There's still another 3 million files that they haven't released, which, by the way, they're breaking the law by not releasing that.
Yeah, because all the stuff I said, that sounds crazy, and they could never release it or they're in big trouble. In fact, this coming out, I wonder why it came out. I'm just wondering do they feel like they've got everything done they need to, and now you can know because there's nothing you can do about it? What is it?
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
But I like this. So we arrested the guy who owned the island, and we arrested the woman who brought the children to the island, but we haven't arrested the clients who paid to grape the children on the island. I don't think that they paid. That's the only problem with that. But that's I don't think the clients
paid. They paid in integrity, Jimmy.
That's right. By the way, now's the perfect time to see Kevin Spacey and Lady Gaga in the Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at the Hackensack Dinner Theater. Am I right? Okay. So here, again, is some really dark stuff. This is maybe the darkest stuff. There's more dark stuff, but I have to give a trigger warning. I don't normally do that.
Did you see the thing about Trump about how he reportedly had a major personality shift after he had his scalp?
No,
they moved his scalp forward.
I didn't.
The guy who did it was an old MK Ultra neurosurgeon who suddenly went to do procedures for famous people, cosmetic procedures. Anyway, Trump got violent supposedly with Ivana Trump after that surgery. And he was a different guy. So I wonder if somebody was touching up on his program. I just wonder.
Oh. So here's some more dark stuff. I'm going to read it to you. And if you're easily triggered, you should not watch this. An unidentified female friend who was forced to perform Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told approximately 13 to 14-year-olds when this occurred and the President Trump while performing oral. The friend was, after she laughed about biting President Trump, telling her caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York. How come this isn't right? I'm half of it's cut off. I don't know how this happened.
Bill Clinton and Trump.
This is not. I got to get this. This isn't right.
This slide.
This slide is not right.
The slide's cut off.
The slide's cut off. So let's go to this. Let's go to this slide. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 95 and 96. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for the parties, clients of whom include Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump, then head of security, that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, he would end up as a fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other CUNTSs. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile parties, dealings with cartels, and having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and Trump would auction them. He had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and Trump would auction them off. He measured the children's VULVA and VJJs by entering a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men, including Elon Musk, Don Jr., Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro.
Now, that is a surprise.
We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral to Donald Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. Okay, there's more of this. Caller reported that in 87, a friend, victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim 1 a drink, and victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to the hospital to have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifiers unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left a bar and with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. I got one more to read for you. In 2004 or 5, Sir Ivan Wilzig hosted a party where Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and Donald Trump were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door. At the party, caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to 23 years of age, who was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman possibly known as Colette, LNU, was the madam. A couple of years later, caller saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, and she told one of the Santos friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending a night with her and that he could pay her a lot of money. Okay. Whoa. So there you go. You want to know if Trump's in the files? That's some of it. Again, there's 3 million more files that they haven't released yet. So there's probably way more damning stuff that they haven't released yet.
And you can, by the way, go find all the people that have been talking about this stuff for the last 30 years of what was done to them, because those things were all real. They did those programs. And Lindsey Graham saying Reagan, bringing up Reagan's scumbag name, he was in it. They all were in on it. See, this guy and this guy, they're all in on it.
Okay. I can't vouch for that. But anyway, so there you go. That's the part so far that I've found. I'm sure there's more of Trump, but there it is. You want to know Trump's in there? There it is, and it's horrible. All right, over to Steph.
And we know nothing is ever going to happen. What's going to happen?
War with Iran?
War with Iran.
Okay, war with Iran. But, we know no justice for any of these predators or this elite group of people. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Smells like someone's getting disinherited. That's from P. Walker. Hey, we've got a new subscriber, secured a year's worth of subscription from Diane on Rockfin. Thank you, Diane. Nah, it's South Carolina accent, CP. Jimmy, please cover Gavin Newsom signing California up to the WHO Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network.
Yes, I will.
Go on January 23rd. Brenton.
I know about that. You're right. I should cover it.
That's good. We'll try to cover it.
I will cover it. Come to me.
That's in the queue on Wednesday. Back to Jim.
So here's the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and here he is talking about the Epstein files. Just listen to this. Here we go.
Thank you. You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
You just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Well,
no.
I hit my head on the way in here, and so now I'm pretending I don't understand basic English or what's going on. I hit my head on the way. I think that's what he's going to say next, because that's what that look is. That look is like, what are you, huh?
What are you, what?
Okay, here we go. Listen to this.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused the young women through Epstein's.
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them. Right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women. If we learn about information and evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women, unfortunately.
So no.
Is everyone drunk in this administration all the time now?
That's the Deputy Secretary, Attorney General, I mean. So here it is. He just so listen to what he admits to here. He admits that the Department of Justice excluded images showing death, physical abuse, or injury from the Epstein file release. Let's listen. So he just said, we don't know anything about anything. We don't know anything about any of these guys, except we do know. But listen to what he says.
Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize.
So they excluded all the horrible stuff of pornography. They excluded it.
Well, tell us the names of who was in the stuff.
Right?
Someone was there.
And who took the photos then? Who took the video or the photos? Hang on, here we go.
I don't want to see CSAM, but I'd like to know who was doing that.
Active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced.
So he's telling you that the most horrible stuff that everybody wants to know about, we didn't release it. We redacted it. All the horrible stuff we're not showing you. The stuff that would prove that there's this ring, we're not going to show you. And so that's kind of stunning. But here's the kind of look at this. Jeffrey Epstein. This is from Jeffrey Epstein. to somebody who's blacked out. I wonder who that guy is. Maybe that's someone we would like to know who that is. So where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video.
Oh, it's good. Well, at least it's good news.
So I'm guessing this is the kind of stuff he's talking about that they're withholding, the torture video.
How about just give me the name?
Right?
Up. Why do you have to redact that?
Yeah,
That's not a victim.
That's right. Give me who that guy is. That's Todd Blanche. Tell me who that guy is. Maybe that's the guy. And then let us look into it, because we already know through the JFK, RFK, MLK, and now assassinations, and now Charlie Kirk, we know that the Department of Justice isn't going to look into this. So tell us what their names are, and then we'll look into it. But they won't. And I'm going to guess that torture video is one of them. Someone says, our spy was captured after completing her mission. This is Martin Novak. This is on March 10th, 2014 at 7 a.m. Our spy was captured after completing her mission. And then Jeffrey says, did you torture her? So this is the kind of stuff they're saying.
Why would you torture your spy? What a weird. Who's Martin Nowak?
So this was the craziest thing. So the undersecretary, the deputy secretary, the attorney general says we don't know anybody. We don't know anything.
We know Martin Nowak.
And then we also redacted all the horrible stuff, the worst stuff we redacted. And so here's something. All right, so that's its own segment. Here's something that keeps coming up. And remember the Pizzagate? Remember how they talked about pizza?
Yeah. What about it?
Here it is. It shows up in the Epstein files. I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza today. This is from a guy named Roy Hodges to Jeffrey Epstein. I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza today. Thank you for letting us do that.
Oh, Roy and Stephanie. That's nice.
Thanks for letting us do that? You mean eat pizza? Of course, that's not what that means. Pizza is obviously a code word for something.
Oh, I wonder what it could be.
Here's another one. This is, we don't know who it's from, but it's to jeevacation@gmail. So I'm going to guess maybe that's Jeffrey Epstein's vacation email. It says, this is better than Ilhan and Chinese cookies. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand.
This is better than a Chinese cookie? Oh, to say Ilhan means then better than a Chinese cookie.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is better than a Chinese cookie. That's what that's supposed to say, but it says Ilhan. This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. So, of course, they had to make anybody who saw pizza who caught on to this, they had to make them out to be crazy. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you questioned the vaccine during COVID. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you thought there were Nazis in Ukraine. Just like they made you out to be crazy if you questioned the Russiagate conspiracy theory pushed forward by the FBI, CIA, the Clinton campaign, and the establishment media. Just like they said you were crazy if you questioned what happened to Seth Rich when they said he got killed in a botched robbery where they didn't take his watch, didn't take his wallet, didn't take his cell phone, didn't take anything. So they always, so if you noticed that they were talking about pizza as a code word for something or grape soda, they made it out to be crazy. Here's another one. I watched them all. Okay. Oh. So this is this goes back to I should have put this in the other segment. But anyway, here, if you want to know about Pizzagate, here is Ben Swan telling you about it.
Actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta.
By the way, this aired on CBS News in Atlanta when he was still employed there, and then they got tired of him telling these kind of uncomfortable truths.
In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. Now, to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles.
So just to remind you where this all came from, this didn't come out of nowhere. WikiLeaks got hacked, got a hold of emails from Tony Podesta's brother, John Podesta. Tony Podesta was Hillary Clinton's chief campaign manager. He had lots of jobs like that, Tony Podesta, right? I think he even worked for, could you look up Tony Podesta's, his resume? So
when the Blink-182 guy wanted to find out about UFOs or Lou Elizondo, he wrote an email to Podesta, Tony Podesta, and said, I just want to serve. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Podesta, a former advisor to politicians like Bill Clinton and Ted Kennedy, he shaped federal lobbying for decades.
So he was an advisor to Bill Clinton, to Ted Kennedy, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Anything else?
Recognized as top lobbyist by the Hill and Washingtonian multiple times.
Okay.
Ooh, top lob.
So his brother's emails got hacked, got released through WikiLeaks, and that's where all the people started to notice that they're using this terminology of pizza and grape soda, even hot dogs. And so let's keep going.
So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into the story? Well, again, read any mainstream report, and they indicate that Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is, that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times, and that the owner of that place, James Alfantis, is a friend of John Podesta. He was actually named, this is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now this is where things start to get strange when you research this story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alfantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. 2 of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical to the one that the FBI does say is a pedophile code symbol for boy love. As I said, there are some strange things there. As for the owner of the pizza place, James Alfantis, well, he was one time in a relationship with David Brock, who ran Media Matters for America. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private. But an archive search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago. He was referred to by the judge as a serial child molester. According to the Washington Post, visitors to Tony Podesta's home in Falls Church got an eyeful when they walked into a bedroom at the Podesta residence hung with multiple color pictures by Katie Grannon, a photographer known for documentary-style pictures of naked teenagers in their parents' suburban homes. And to be clear, that just begins to scratch the surface of how strange some of this stuff is. And bear in mind, we can't get into a lot of the real details of it because of the limits on broadcasting this on television. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have already proven there's nothing to the story, right? Well, actually, no. And that's what you need to know. For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this. Not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question. Not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
And the craziest fake news of all.
So that, and it goes on, and that's him trying to.
Good Catholic boy
Good
says
Catholic
there's nothing to see here.
Yes. So there you go. It keeps the pizza keeps popping up in the Epstein files. There it is, and that's just a brief overview of what that was about. What else would you tell people about the Pizzagate story? Like,
I would say all your worst nightmares are true. And they're not going to go look. I just was on a show that they'd take down because somebody must have they told me the premise of looking at these Epstein files, and then the guy wanted to talk about we should stay in Ukraine, the idiot, and he was a kabod scumbag, I'm sure. And so they're trying to downplay this right now, and most people, you're going to see who's who, because the people that want to know can find out, and the people don't want to know, you're going to see which ones are pure cattle. You're a cow if you're not on your own looking into this right now at these files. Dude, the interview with Bannon and him is insane. Have you seen it?
I watched the first, I would say, 20 minutes. There's a video that got released recently of Steve Bannon interviewing Jeffrey Epstein, and he's talking about international finance, and he sounds like a used car salesman, and he doesn't really even sound like he knows what he's talking about.
He's like Woody Allen.
He talks about when the dollar inflates, he really means deflates. He's making. I've only watched 20 minutes, and he's making lots of mistakes. Jeffrey Epstein. He's not a smart guy. It doesn't sound like he's a smart guy.
He's a construct, 100% out of the gate. He's not a guy that was such a bad genius that moved his way up. That's what this moron was trying to say to me earlier. Oh, and this bad apple wormed his way in, and
no, he didn't.
He was picked out from the start by David Rockefeller, he said, and Henry Kissinger to sit on the Trilateral Commission at age 30.
At age
He's
30.
that dumb at that age, but at 30, he was so brilliant. They said, you got to sit on the Trilateral Commission.
Yeah.
I mean, how insane, dude.
A math teacher from the Dalton School. That's the only thing on his resume. Well, we got to get you on the Trilateral Commission.
He shouldn't have had that job at Dalton. He should have never had that. That's a very high-end school.
Right. Anyway, there it is. Okay, let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Ready? Hey, early onset dementia and Alzheimer's are on the rise. Reports show a 373% increase in diagnosis among 30 to 44-year-olds and a 311% increase in 45 to 50-year-olds in the U.S. in recent years. When doctors treat brain diseases, they often focus on medicating the brain itself, addressing symptoms instead of the root cause, which is chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. These factors damage brain cells and lead to the buildup of toxic proteins, the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. But like much of the body, many brain issues trace back to gut microbiome. That's right. There's a direct communication line between your gut and your brain, the gut-brain axis, where gut bacteria influence inflammation, mood, memory, and cognitive function. That's why what you eat matters so much. Kimchi contains over 900 probiotic strains, and studies show its bioactive compounds help reduce inflammation, protect brain cells, and even improve memory and cognitive function by preventing amyloid beta plaque buildup. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One. It delivers all the benefits of real kimchi in convenient capsules. No taste, no smell, virtually no sodium, made in the USA, and it's non-GMO. Today, we can get you an exclusive offer by clicking the link below for 25% off your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-253-0418. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you remember seeing this video of this.
Yes.
Was a Mexican model who was screaming outside of a hotel, and maybe
Carlos Slim.
Maybe you could turn this down, Misha, and So you can turn up a little. She's saying they're eating humans. Disgusting. They ate humans. I wasn't aware of anything. I mean, about the murders, yes, but they had eaten humans. Humans. They smell like human flesh. By the way, that woman was never seen again. Just so you know. And so why do I bring that up? Well, here is from the Epstein files. It says, all you need is a blood transfusion from the pack and you reverse aging. This is from Barry Josephson to Jeffrey Epstein and subject Dr. August. All you need is a blood transfusion from the pack and you reverse aging. Well, here is, so here is this Jim Caviezel, and he's a former Hollywood actor in lots of stuff that you know, and here's what he was saying about it.
Adrenochrome. That's not true. It's C9H9NO3. This is a chemical compound that is absolutely, this has been around in modern science since the 1930s. You can actually, there's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form, which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up, essentially, and then extracting it from them. When you sit and meet, and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up. It's there. They absolutely went after me. And the next day, I never heard from my agency for 14 months. My lawyers let me go. My agency never called me after that. And essentially I was done.
So, and if you miss a dose, you cave in with that Ellen DeGeneres effect. But let's watch. He's got a little bit more to say about it.
For slave labor, or is it
adrenochrome? The whole adrenochrome empire. This is a big deal. It is listed under the NIH. It is a chemical compound. It's a molecular structure. Is C9H9NO3. It is it's an elite drug that they've used for many years. It's 10 times more potent than heroin. And it has some mystical qualities as far as making you look younger. There's
that scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that nobody could figure out.
No, I saw that. Why does MS-13 have the most advanced guns? You know, why do we Sinaloa gangs have all? How come 110,000 people died or disappeared in Mexico City? Where did they go? And they're starting pulling people out of body bags now. You know, how this is just insane with our military, our special forces, and we don't take care of this.
You can't just have that demand unless somehow that's organized also.
100%. I believe. Okay, so the agents that I've spoken to. All right, here's for a barrel of oil, $77. For a barrel of body parts and what's going to be adrenochrome, all the plumes that are in the mother's wombs, that goes into a plastic barrel, and that's $77,000. Now that gets sent into these biolabs.
Barrel oil,
$77. $77,000 for Ukrainians have Russian bloodline and everything. And then I started looking up that. And then I started looking up this Azov Battalion stuff, the Nazis. And then we just find out
there were financing,
but we were told for 2 years that this is not. There's no Nazis there, right. But now there are. Right. Again, this is another conspiracy theory. See, it keeps changing. It either this or that. See, and this is where it's a joke when and Americans are seeing this. We're talking about this all the time, but I was given good data on this, and now I realize, well, wait a minute, maybe Putin was defending himself. Who is NATO? Who is the UN? And who are the central banks? Who is the IMF, the ECB, the private Western central banks, the Rothschild banks? And then you start going, wow, this is fascinating.
Is this why you're
calling out Epstein Island? So in this movie, there is a sex island, because Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there.
What do you mean? Okay, talk about the sex island, because this thing is dealing with Colombia. Talk about the sex island.
In this particular film, well, they do a raid, and the lady that ran that operation, she was out. she was out of prison. You see, so you've got a lot of agencies that are involved in this why wasn't she in prison? So he was down there talking to their side of their government saying, do you understand when this film comes out, it's going to shine a light on you. And if you don't put her back in prison, you're going to have problems.
So let me get to another release from the, so this is RE, interview of purported Epstein victim. This is from August 2019. It starts here. I'd like to add a few other points disclosed by the purported victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from their intestines. He was also graped by George Bush I. Victim disclosed he was escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore, who is the creator of The True Pundit, described by multiple online sources as the conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. Moore has a criminal record as a result of the FBI investigation. Let me know if you want to discuss the former FBI agent that called this into the head office. Up here it says, thanks, redacted, I didn't realize Bush graped him too. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. So that's where this adrenochrome and all that stuff comes from. Am I even saying it right? How do you say it, Kurt?
Okay, don't get hung up on adrenochrome because we have plasma-based medicine. There was no such thing as that until very recently. Everybody, most of the blood supply from the blood bank goes to Big Pharma to make plasma-based medicines. Did you know that?
No.
80% of it. 80% of the donated blood goes to that. They use every part of the buffalo, so don't get too hung up on adrenochrome. And as far as what Jim Caviezel is referencing, you interviewed the guy on this show. That guy who made that movie Caviezel was in, that guy's a scumbag liar and Scientologist. And that guy was framing an innocent woman. You had the guy in here exposing him. And I didn't forget about that. And that's what Jim Caviezel goes, so then we said you better put her in jail or blah, blah, blah. That whole film was bullshit. And by the way, Caviezel and Bannon, you're going to sit there and play dumb? Bannon, again, guy at parties over at Epstein. You don't know, oh, yeah, this adrenochrome. That's the least of the things they take out of kids. They do organ harvesting. They do everything. So the adrenochromes get you to focus on that, but don't get too hung up on that because they do much worse things.
So this is what people are talking about. So this ritualistic sacrifice, that's what this woman was screaming about. Mm-hmm. This kind of stuff, they are eating human. So it sounds almost too crazy to fathom.
Like a satanic panic, like that CIA idea that got put around, and then secular materialist dim bulbs go, the satanic panic, because they fell for it. It was a muddy the waters operation to go, oh, what are you panicking? They're all satanic. And you know how you know? By all of their actions in front of your dumb face. Not you, but you know what I'm saying. Everything they do has shown you what they are. They starved is it worth it starving 500,000 kids? I think so. That's called satanic. I'm not panicking. I watched the bitch say it. If they would do that to 500,000 kids, what would they do to one baby? Not drink it? Come on.
Okay, over Steph.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I do one more?
Lindsay is drunk because he's sweating because Trump hasn't bombed Iran yet. B-Man, thank you, B-Man. Breton, thank you, Breton. Much appreciated. Trump is Nero from Revelation. A lot characteristics, similarities. Jordan, Savage. This is the way you make money and made a fortune in the past years. Selling short futures, let the Gentile deal with the real world. Epstein. And that's Savage. What a relief. Swamp Creature and good friend of the show, Lindsey Graham, pledged support to Iranian protesters. We're on our way to help. CP. CP, you're back. He was not confused enough to officially get out of the closet. Lindsey Graham mentions Kentucky like it's a reminder to stop beginning his day with Kentucky bourbon. Here you go. All right, my_war. It appears the conspiracy adrenochrome stuff Kurt kept talking about is real. Justice.gov shows the emails about it. Hemp car.
The real stuff that's making them live long is called Ormus, and it's not the kind you get online.
All right. Secretary Kennedy will proclaim that autism is caused by anti-Semitism. I have Asperger's big time, if you know what I mean. I don't know, but.
Did someone call you a mean word? And is that Rabbi Portnoy on the line?
So here's.
Oh, back to Jim.
So here's Thomas Massey has a response. Now, you know, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, they co-authored that bill that passed unanimously, and Trump signed it, that forced the Department of Justice to Pam Bondi to release the Epstein files. They've only released half of them.
They released on her desk?
3 million, and the other. And now we were told it was a hoax. Donald Trump said it was a hoax. But now we know there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of people in trouble today. I think somebody, was it the Prime Minister of Romania already resigned? So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fallout coming from this.
There's an arrest in England for it. None here?
Really? Is there an arrest in England for it?
Yeah, they've been talking about it all day.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why there would be. It makes no sense. I mean, why punish anyone?
So here's what Thomas Massey, he tweeted this out. Here it is.
That is wrong. Do not let the Senate muck this bill up. And if you're a party to that in the Senate, you are part of this cover-up that we are trying to expose. I am sorry if one of your billionaire donors is going to get embarrassed because he went to Rape Island. That is what they have coming. In fact, they need to be on the other side of bars, a lot of them. Some of them will be embarrassed, but some of them need to go to prison, and the survivors know that. So how will we know if this bill has been successful? We will know when there are men, rich men, in handcuffs being perp-walked to the jail. And until then, this is still a cover-up.
Wow. Well, rich men being perp-walked into jail. I think we're going to see pharmaceutical companies go organic and do all herbal remedies before we witness that. So that's Thomas Massey's response to the latest dump of 3 million Epstein files. And he tweets that out. He tweeted that out February 1st. How will we know if this bill is successful? When we see rich men being perp-walked in handcuffs into jail. Until then, it's still a cover-up. Well,
we're founded by human traffickers. I'm sorry to tell everybody. Your founding fathers are human traffickers. That's what they are. That's what they were. So what do you think that they're going to... There will be no punishment until people stop participating and stop consenting. It's going to go on forever. In fact, watch nothing happen and the boldness with which they do worse things now.
When you say the founding fathers were traffickers, you mean because there's some
slavers,
slave owners?
People with slaves? That's called a human trafficking, having slaves.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not solid men of God, whatever you dumbasses think.
What did Washington have slaves?
Of course.
Thomas Jefferson, he had
Shane's
slaves?
got a good book about it.
Yes.
In fact, I didn't even think of it that way until Shane, no, not book, his joke. He goes, because he went to it to look at Martha's Vineyard, where you go in the slave chambers underground. He goes, oh, yeah, that's right. They were human traffickers. Which they were. That's right. Everybody's so shocked.
So until this happens, nothing will change. That's what he's saying. It's a bad time to be a body double for powerful people right now. Tell them you got COVID and you can't come in if you're a body double. And here, this is kind of funny. Release the Epstein files, protect the pedos. Tough decision. That's what you're getting.
Put some masked IDF ICE with rifles nudging me towards the protect the pedos.
And here's probably why we're never going to see them, because here's Catherine Austin Fitz. She's going to tell you. Remember, she talked about that $20 trillion that they have stolen from the U.S. government that nobody can account for, and she says they're using it to build underground cities, which they are, and all this other kind of stuff. 20 trillion. Here's what she says.
I believe Epstein. Yes, you were building control files using sex entrapment. But I think the bigger picture, you were doing big money laundering. So 21 trillion disappeared from DOD and HUD over the period that Epstein was operating. He went to the White House, his first time in the White House. Rubin, who became Secretary of Treasury, took him, I think, in 1994. And then Rubin goes to Treasury. Money starts disappearing, and then, Epstein is ballooning fantastic amounts of money. So I think Epstein was laundering the money that was coming out of DOD. And if you look at his relationships with Mossad and Israeli intelligence, when Mossad is taking over DOD and the money's going missing, and we know the cybersecurity and IT in the Israeli sort of constellation was very active in government at that time. So I just think if you let the files out, people are going to connect the dots between Epstein, Mossad, the growing power of Israel, AIPAC, and then where did their pension fund money go? And they're going to start connecting to the dots. I mean, here's the thing. The institution that laundered $20 trillion one way or the other is the same institution that ran Operation Warp Speed that poisoned, disabled, and bankrupted millions of Americans. Do we really think that's a coincidence?
I don't.
I think if the Epstein files come out, people are going to start connecting too many dots, and you could literally see the ramifications to the financial system are dramatic.
So there's another reason why you're not going to, because it's everybody's in on it, right? The CIA, the Mossad, the Department of Defense, Department of Secretaries of Treasury, they're all in on it. That's why you're not going to. So that's why you probably are. Well, you know how who was the royal family member, Prince Andrew? How his name got released? How everybody knew about Prince Andrew? You want to know why? Because he crossed Israel. Ex-President Rivlin, Queen Elizabeth believed that every Israeli was either a terrorist or a son of a terrorist. And so now the speculation is that's why they're like, oh yeah, you want to do that? We're going to reveal that somebody inside your royal family we have blackmail on them. And that's what that was all about. So that's why of all the Epstein PDF files, he was the one that we know about, because Israel was sending a message to the royal family, we've got you. You better watch it. And that's the speculation anyway. Makes sense, right, Kurt?
Okay. Yeah, of course it makes sense. I just got my friend Sean Patrick Hazlitt from the Through a Glass Darkly show that I did. I'm in the Epstein files. I just found out. You know why?
No.
Because somebody was telling Jeffrey Epstein he's got to go to the Comedy Cellar to see Dave Attell's Underground, some Comedy Central taping I did with Big J. They go, oh, it's to Jeff E. I just sent it to you, dude.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know who sent him the thing, but
so this makes
twice.
So this makes sense, right, Kurt? That this would be.
Oh, of course. First of all, they're Nazi. Prince Philip. Have you ever heard the things that's come out of his mouth? She was Sig Heiling as a child. There's photos you could see of it. So, of course, these are Germans. You know that, right? They're not British. They're Germans. So, of course, they're going to do that to them. Even though people like Henry Kissinger is also like, they're still, the Zionist fascist party. They were always kind of cool with the Nazis and they act like them. But, yeah, of course they're going to do that. That's what I think Argentina, they're going to do that, burn their land. Of course they're going to do that. They're going to do them extra because of World War II, right? They hit Nazis there.
Okay, so I wanted to show you that. I wanted to show you that's Thomas Massey's reaction. Okay. This bill won't be successful until rich guys are perp walks. And now you know why it's not going to happen. $20 trillion. He was there money laundering. Not only was he getting blackmail on people to control them, the control grid, as she refers to it, but they were laundering $20 trillion. And now you know why Prince Andrew is in the hot seat, and everybody knows about Prince Andrew. It was because they were sending a message to the royal family because the Queen was not on board with Israel or Mossad. In fact, if you look down here, it says the Queen refused to accept any Israeli official into Buckingham Palace, apart from international occasions.
Because she was right. Oh, Andrew was the idiot who would still hang out with him.
And so there you go. Okay, if you like to hear my jokes about this, come see me in Lansing, Michigan, Milwaukee, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Let's take a break, and should we go to...
I think it's time to go.
We're going to go... We'll go over to Rumble, and Steph will read the rest of your super chats over there and get to your Rumble rants.